What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday. Time to check out some new releases that are coming out this Friday, September 19th. There's about 400 albums coming out this week. I got 12 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 400 albums that are coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 12 of them on the show today. So if there's something you're looking forward to that I'll have on here, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section for them. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. All the pre-orders are on there. There's new releases. There's deals on records. All sorts of cool stuff. Check out. A couple of big reissues coming out this week, albums that have not been available in a very long time. The first one is the self-titled debut album from Buckingham Nicks. Came out back in 1973. It's going to run about $25. And there's a couple of different versions of this. There's a light blue version, which I think might be an indie store exclusive. And then there's a yellow version, which is Amazon exclusive. This is the first time it's been available on vinyl in over 40 years. It's all newly remastered from the original analog tapes. This was released about a year before Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks would join Fleetwood Mac, and initially it was seen as a failure, but over the years has become the sought-after classic. And this was also one of those rare albums that I don't think was ever widely available on CD either. It's definitely an album that's long overdue to get reissued. I've got a copy of that one on pre-order already, so I'm looking forward to getting that this week. Then you've also got Milo Goes to College by Descendents coming out this week, released back in 1982. It was their debut studio album. It's going to be on gray vinyl. It's going to be about $26. It's easily one of the most important punk albums of the 80s. It's getting reissued for the first time in 15 years. It would become one of the most influential albums of its era, and it would define the template for what a lot of punk bands would do after them. And for some reason, if you're unfamiliar with this album, the title of this album is actually a reference to the lead singer of the band, who was leaving the band after this album to go to college, who'd go on to become a research molecular biologist. But because of him going to school, there was gaps in the band's career. Once he graduated college, there was actually some pretty long gaps in between albums. But, you know, they would create some great albums across their career. I think Milo Goes to College is probably the best of what they did, but they did create some great albums after that also. There's also a new album from Sarah McLachlan coming out this week. This is Better Broken. It's her 10th studio album. It's going about $25. So this is the follow-up to her 2016 album, Wonderland, which is actually a Christmas album. Got a lot of really great praise when the album came out. She won a Grammy because of that album. But her last album of original music was Shine On back in 2014. I mean, it was met with some pretty mixed reviews. I don't think I ever heard more than just the singles off of it, though. But it's just that the music off this new album was inspired largely by the current state of the world. She's already released 2 singles off the new album. I haven't heard a whole lot about this album yet, so it's definitely one I'll add to my list to stream and check out this week when it comes out. Then you've also got No Angel by Dido getting reissued. Came out back in 1999. It was her debut studio album. There's a black version of this. There's also a red version. Looks like the red version has already sold out in most places, though. It's going to run about $30. Honestly, this is an album I had not heard until Eminem sampled Thank You when he released Stan in 2000. That song ended up being huge. It hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album overall would hit number 4 on the Billboard 200. And the album overall was a massive success. It hit number 1 in a bunch of countries across the world. It would sell over 15 million copies worldwide. She had similar success with her sophomore album, but her career kind of declined from there, even though I don't think there was a huge drop-off in her music after that. There's also a great looking 3-album set coming out this week from Jim Croce. This is the definitive Croce. It's going to run you about $70. So this is a set of Jim's best 3 albums, all on different colors. They're on bone, sky blue, and tangerine vinyl. His first 2 albums were largely ignored when they were first released, and after listening to them, I kind of understand why. But then his last 3 albums will all be gold albums here in the US. All 3 of them would be top 10 hits. Most of the songs on these were all remastered by Paul Hicks in 2023. All these 3 albums have all of his best known songs on them. If you don't have any Jim's music and you want to have them on vinyl, I think this set is probably the best way to go. I think $70 is a little much, but it is a 3 LP set, so I think that does kind of justify the price. So that's coming out this week. Then you also got the new album from 38 Special. This is Milestone. It's their 13th studio album. It's going to be on yellow and orange vinyl. It's going to run about $25. The veteran rock band is back for the first time in over 20 years with their last album, Drivetrain, coming out back in 2004, even though I don't think they ever really went away. This will be the band's first album without founding member Donnie Van Zant, since his retirement back in 2013 because of health reasons. A few of the longtime members are still around, though, including Don Barnes. It's an album I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to grab a copy of it this week, but I'll definitely stream it and check it out when it comes out. A couple of great-looking jazz releases coming out this week, both a part of the Blue Note Classic series. These are always mastered by Kevin Gray from the original analog tapes. They're pressed to optimal. They always sound fantastic. Blue Note does a great job with this series, and that's a really good, affordable way to get us some really good jazz music. A lot of stuff that has not been pressed on vinyl, in decades. But the first one is Sonny's Crib, came out back in 1958. They're running about $28. So this was recorded just about 2 months after Dial S for Sonny, which I think is kind of widely seen as one of the best jazz albums of the later part of the 50s. And really, I think Dial S for Sonny, Sonny's Crib, and Blue Train by John Coltrane, I think those 3 albums are probably the 3 best albums from Blue Note from the later part of the 50s. But he's joined by an absolute star-studded all-star lineup on this, so there's no surprise that this album is as great as it is. But he's joined on here by Donald Byrd, Curtis Fuller, John Coltrane, Paul Chambers. He's got Art Taylor on drums. Like I said, every single one of those musicians is an absolute legend at their position. If you're not familiar with the album, it's at least worth streaming and checking out. It's an absolute masterpiece of an album. And then the second release is Shades of Red by Freddie Red. Came out back in 1961. It's all the same stuff. It's all mastered by Kevin Gray. It's pressed to optimal. It's going to run about $28. So Freddie's best known for writing the music for The Connection, which is a very famous Jack Gelber play back in 1959. But he would go on to release his best album as a band leader, Shades of Red, 1961. He would release a lot of other music across, the next several decades after that, but nothing would really compare to this album. But he's got a great lineup on here. Not as great as what Sonny Clark did on that first album, though, but he's got Jackie McLean on here, Tina Brooks, Paul Chambers, Louis Hayes. Great lineup for a great album. There is one big music on vinyl release that's coming out this week. This is Golden Age Wireless by Thomas Dolby. Came out back in 1982 as his debut studio album. It's going to be limited to 1,000 copies. It's going to be turquoise vinyl. It's going to run about $40. So keep in mind that this is pressed in the Netherlands, so there's typically about a week's delay before it arrives here in the U.S. So if you live in other parts of the world, you might see this as a release for last week. But this is one of those early 80s new wave classics. I know it's best known for She Blinded Me with Science, but this is one of those albums where it's even better than just that one song it's known for. It was one of those albums that would help define early 80s synth pop, and it would end up being a pretty innovative album. It was easily his biggest album. It would go on to hit number 13 on the Billboard 200. It was one of my favorite albums when I was a kid. Even for $40, which is pretty pricey for an album, which is typically what music on vinyl releases go for, I probably will snag a copy if I can find a copy of it this week. Then you've also got the new album from Motion City Soundtrack coming out. This is the Same Old Wasted Wonderful World. It's their 7th studio album. It's going about $28. So this is the band's first album since Panic Stations back in 2015. They would break up in 2016. They would reunite in 2019. They would go on a couple of reunion tours and then finally get together in the studio to record this new album. Their last album received a lot of really good reviews, but commercially it underperformed. I don't know. We'll see how this album goes when it gets released this week. It's one I'm not going to pre-order, but I'll probably at least stream it and check it out when it comes out this week. You've also got Even in Arcadia by Sleep Token getting reissued this week. This came out back in May. It was their 4th studio album. 2 LP releases got on Pearl vinyl. This is an Amazon exclusive. It's going to run about $45. Sleep Token's one of those bands that I think has gained a lot of momentum with every single album they've released so far. This is the band's first album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200. In my opinion, it's one of the better metal albums that's come out this year. It received a lot of really positive reviews when this album came out. Even though it wasn't really universally loved, a lot of people didn't really love the way this album was marketed when it first came out. I know there was like some TikToks the band did about it, and then there was like this, I thought it was really kind of funny and unique. There was like this, there was a weatherman in North Carolina that was like hinting out release dates. He was hinting out singles. I thought it was kind of clever. I thought it was a really good way of thinking outside the box to market yourself in 2025, but I think it kind of upset some older fans. So it's hard to argue with the results because, they got a lot of publicity from it. It hit number 1 on the Billboard 200. Commercially, it's the biggest album of their career so far. This band, I think, is definitely going in the right direction. I think they're one of those bands that's going to be the future of rock music, even though a lot of, rock purists out there hate them for it. But, it's definitely an album worth checking out. If you are a rock fan and you haven't listened to it yet, I thought it was a really good album, even though it's not generally my style of music. And the last album I got is 10,000 Fists by Disturbed. This came out back in 2005. It was their 3rd studio album. 2 LP releases, come in yellow and red vinyl. 20th anniversary release. It's going to run about $35. To be honest, I think their debut album is the only Disturbed album I think I've ever listened to. Even though I know this is a huge album, It's one of the most popular albums from the band. I think their debut album is the only one I've ever actually like sat down and listened to in full. But it was a hugely popular album when it came out. It hit number 1 on the Billboard 200. It would sell over 2 million copies here in the US. I know even today they're still one of the more popular metal bands out there. I definitely need to go back through and dig through more of their catalog. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. I know I got a few things on pre-order. I know I got that Buckingham Nicks. I got that Descendents. I probably will grab that Sonny Clark. I'll probably grab that Thomas Dolby if I can find a copy. Like I said, it's limited to 1,000 copies. I know I got some question marks next to a few other releases. I don't know. We'll see what I end up grabbing this week. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me all thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.